Hitkari ji, Sip Raju, Sip Sudeep, Sip Samatma, Sip Leena, Sip Bliss, Sip Kumar Swami, Sip Gautam, Sip Kundan, Sip Yogini, Sip Sagai, Sip Rekha, Sip Eru, Sip Parthiyama, Sip Ashok, Sip Gliko, and the rest I can't see you. I'm sitting in a car in Iceland because I was driving for 4 hours. So please, I apologize if there's any hitch, but don't go off track if I'm lost. I'll come back in a few seconds. The subject today is an interesting subject. Is it on your screen? Do you have an intellect? Do you have an intellect? So who would like to start? Do you have an intellect? I'm looking for a champion to answer the question. क्या आपके पास बुद्धि है? हाँ? आपके पास बुद्धि है? बुद्धि? In school, our teacher used to tell us, do you have any bloody sense? Teacher used to tell in the class. Have you heard a teacher? Hey, black, कुछ दिमाग में है, दिमाग नहीं है. That is the question I'm asking you in a diplomatic way. Do you have an intellect? It means one and the same. So I want to know who's going to answer the question.
Yes, sir, we have an intellect.
Yes.
We have an intellect.
How do you know you have an intellect, my dear?
Because when we are in
my dear, how do you know?
When we are in consciousness, we realize we have an intellect.
You are giving a very theoretical and technical answer. I am asking you simple thing. Do you have intellect or not? You know what happened?
Yes, we have.
20 years back. 20 years back, 25 years back, I was very fond of eating chicken. You know that? 25 years back. I went to a restaurant in Bangalore called Rumali. One of the best restaurants of Bangalore 30 years back. This was 30 years back. So I had a very naughty cousin. And my cousin taking me for dinner. He asked that fellow, chicken hai? He said, sir, nahi hai. He said, mutton hai? He said, nahi hai. He said, prawn hai? He said, nahi hai. He asked him, bheja hai? Bheja? He said, ek plate lao. He said, yes, sir, hai. At that time, they used to have brain. I know, you know, it's called brain. Have you eaten brain?
Yes.
People, that place is famous for bheja. So the point is, how do you know you have an intellect? Serious business. Enough of fun. 2 minutes of fun is enough. Gautam and Rekha, I want you to coin your.
Yes.
Don't just tell me yes, I have intellect.
Yes, I will.
How do you know you have an intellect? How, Gautam? Gautam, you have intellect?
Yes, sure, Mayor. Yes, sir, we have intellect. Here, we have intellect to choose what is right and what is wrong. That's it.
So how do you know you have intellect? How do you know you're choosing right and wrong?
For example, I tell if I'm going in the wrong direction, I have to use my intellect and I have to go to. So if I going to wrong direction, if I have to use the intellect and I should go in the right direction.
So I'm asking you, how do you know you have an intellect?
By choosing right decision.
Are you thinking you're good, choosing the right decision? How do you know? Suppose you're not choosing by the intellect, you're choosing by the mind. Ru Mataji always says, I don't know if Ru Mataji is there on the call or not. Ru Mataji says, we must not choose by the heart, we must choose by the head. She is very famous in telling, hey, Ru Mataji hai call pe. So the point is, how do you know?
Suppose, for example, I tell I'm eating a non-veg, for example. So I realize that I have to, it's a bad for me. So I use my intellect and I have to leave eating non-veg, for example.
No, Some people are saying eating non-veg is good as per the intellect. Very healthy. So what do you have to say? Those people who are thinking eating intellect is good. They are saying as per the intellect, eating non-veg is very good. Many people are eating non-veg. A lot of people are eating non-veg. So tell me, how do you justify, my dear Gautam?
I have to think about it there.
Okay, so who else wants to speak? Rekha Parmani, back to you.
AiR, like if I'm making a mistake, I have an inner voice which corrects me. That is my intellect.
Good.
It tells me
Good.
I'm doing
No, that is your conscience.
yes, my conscience.
And
okay.
your conscience, we have never touched this topic of conscience. Now there are two voices. There is one
Yes.
voice. There is one voice, the voice of the mind. And there's another voice, but actually, what is this conscience? Tell me, what is conscience? Conscience has no meaning. It is because what happens, a man who is dead has no conscience.
Yes.
I'm talking about a dead soul. I'm talking of people who have got, they are indifferent, no compassion, thick skin buffalo, as you call them. They have no heart. They can kill and they can kill again and they can kill again and they can kill again because they are thick skinned buffaloes. So how do you realize it's the voice of your consciousness?
Because if I'm doing wrong, I'll be corrected. My inner voice will help me realize that I'm going to the wrong path. So the
What
intellect,
about the butcher? Rekha, what about the butcher who's every day the butchers? What about the terrorist who's killing every day? The terrorist doesn't have intellect, or the terrorist has intellect?
they have, but they don't use it. They think with their mind. They have it.
Now we are moving forward in the discussion. First point, do we have an intellect?
Yes.
Second point, are we using the intellect? So I'm asking a question. How many of you have got dogs? Does a dog have intellect? Does a dog have intellect? Yes or no?
I think they have.
They have intellect?
I don't know.
So Rekha, you take a dog and put shit on the road. The dog will eat the shit. Why is eating the shit? He has intellect. The dog has intellect. You know the dog doesn't know what is good food and what is shit on the road. The dog very often will eat the shit. Why then? Why is the dog eating the shit? Anybody has got dogs? Anybody knows? Anybody has a comment to make on this? Bliss is saying no. Bliss, you know dog can eat shit. You know that?
Yes, they can.
Oh yes, Bliss. You have dog?
No.
No
Dogs
dog.
are able to have knowledge, and if we learn to err, they can make this. They know.
That is different. That is when you teach the dog,
They train
they
them,
will
yes.
follow as per the instinct, but they don't have intellect.
Yes,
So
they are.
We are coming back.
They are able to make the choice, and they are able to understand what they do the wrong choice. I know. My dog was like this because they were.
That is called. Please check in French. It is called instinct. It is called instinct, and a dog can be trained.
Instinct is only 20%, and the other, the 18%, it's education, learning, and everything.
Correct.
It's the same for human. We have
No,
the
no.
Einstein and the
No,
intellect.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, well,
This intellect means the ability to discriminate. The ability to discriminate right or wrong.
mhm.
You know something? Even though human being has got intellect, not every human being is able to use. Majority of human beings are not able to use intellect. A lot of human beings. So how do we know whether we are using intellect or not? How do we know we have intellect? Are we using intellect? This
It's
is a big
when
question.
it's when we use knowledge and what is good. We use the intellect and this time.
Who can
I
give me an
use
example?
intellect right now because I try to understand what you say in English, and I try to use my intellect, what I learned from English and everything, to try to explain my thoughts. I
Good,
use my
good.
intellect right now.
Yeah, but very often we are not using intellect. We are using mind. Who can give me an example of using the mind? Who can give me an example? Leena Anand says we have intellect because we know what is good and bad, but in ignorance it is suppressed by the mind. Good. So Leena Anand says we have intellect, but the intellect is suppressed by the mind. So this is the problem. We have an intellect, but the intellect is, we lose control of the intellect. And we lose control of the intellect, and the mind comes in the driver's seat. When the mind comes in the driver's seat, there is no discrimination. So who can give me some examples, please, of when we are unable to use intellect? Who can give me an example?
Awareness.
Yes, Ashok?
Awareness. We should have awareness. We should be in awareness.
Correct. When do we lose awareness? Give me an example when we lose awareness.
We should use the awareness when we are in doubt, when we are in two minds, which is right and which is wrong.
No, I'm
God has
asking you,
given-
when do we lose awareness? Give me an example when we lose awareness.
When we use the mind. When we use the mind.
That's okay. Now I'm asking you, you just have 3 pegs of whiskey. After you have 3 pegs of whiskey, is your intellect active?
I
Is
didn't get
your power,
Sarji.
is your power of discrimination active after 3 pegs of whiskey?
I should stop there.
Who knows? Who can give you an example of, you know somebody who drinks and drinks a little bit more? Who knows? Who can give me an example?
So
Anybody
if you
know?
have
Then that means
Yes.
he's not in awareness.
You lose consciousness. You lose your consciousness. You lose your intellectuality. Today, my dear friends, we are talking of an important subject in the journey of enlightenment. The subject is, do you have an intellect? How many times we make a mistake and we repeat the same mistake again and again and again? Bliss, tell me, you repeat mistake again and again and again or not?
sometimes, yes.
Why? Why do we do that? Why do we do
I
that?
don't know why, because something my touch and really get,
Because we are not using the intellect.
yeah,
We are caught by the mind.
yes, the mind get the cordeau. I don't know how to say it in English, but it and intellect disparate and the mind take the control of the thoughts.
So I'm trying to help you all today to develop what is known as the intellect. This is my goal. Today's focus is just on this. You have an intellect. Do you use the intellect? Is the intellect in command? Some of you, the question is, do you know you have intellect? You know or you don't know? So that is the point. Do you discriminate? In English, there's a beautiful idiom. They say, don't throw pearls before a pig. Why they say like this? Don't throw pearls before a pig. You know why? Who? Huh? Girish, why? Girish, why we should not throw pearls before a pig, Girish?
Pig is not knowing the value of that pearl, so it may destroy it or lose it, or it will not pick it up. It will not have any value.
If you offer a pig pearls, it will still run to pick shit because it eats shit. And some of us who don't have an intellect, we eat shit by eating pig. The pig is eating shit and we are eating pig. So what are we eating? So this is something that is spoken by people. Actually, we cannot go by that idiom or by that saying. But my point, my dear friends, are we using the power of discrimination? Are we using the intellect to move forward in this journey of enlightenment? This is the question. Because if you are not using the intellect, then there is no discrimination. The entire journey of enlightenment is just this: mind or intellect. You know, that day we spoke about mind versus consciousness. Did we not speak? How many points we got on mind versus consciousness? Anybody remembers the 13 points? Who can tell me the 13 points? Who remembers?
Shaitan Bhagwan.
Yes.
Bhoga Yoga.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you please talk to me? Thank you.
Huh?
Hello.
Yes. Continue, Yogini. So Yogini got caught. So the point is, I told you all, you have to know this
Mithya and
mind.
Satya.
Yeah, Mithya and Satya. Then
Sad and glad.
Sad and
sad
glad.
and glad. Then okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's do it together and let's see. Let's everybody speak and see whether we have it or not. Okay. So we finished 3. Girish wants to say a few.
Intellect
Yes.
concealed and comes alive.
Intellect concealed and revealed. Okay.
Yes.
Then
Confusion and conclusion.
confusion and conclusion. Then
Rebirth and not return to
Junk,
rebirth and not return to earth. Then
junk and monk.
junk and monk. Good.
Perspiration and liberation.
Perspiration and liberation. Good.
Then sad and glad.
Sad and glad. Okay.
Then
Lips, a lip and sip.
God on the lip and God is sip. Good.
bundle of thoughts and thoughtlessness.
Mind is thought and consciousness is thoughtlessness. Good.
Thoughtlessness.
knowledge and enlightenment.
Good. Knowledge and enlightenment. Good.
I think we covered, sir. Rebirth.
Now you are using your intellect with the help of memory to pick the points. Sometimes you don't use the intellect, you are using the mind, and the mind uses memory to pick the wrong things. Memory is available to the mind, memory is available to the intellect. You can pick all the junk in your memory, all the negativity in your memory, and you can reach nowhere. So, my dear friends, do you have an intellect? Every human being has. Can somebody tell me if any human being does not have intellect? Anybody can tell me? Does any human being not have intellect?
No, all of us have.
Who? Rekha, you're saying all of us have?
Yes, sir.
Come with me to the mental hospital. I'll show you mental cases who are eating shit. There are people who have no intellect. They are called mentally retarded. So all normal human beings have intellect or not?
Yes.
Yes. And that intellect, you know what it's called? You know what is intellect is called? Next Friday, I think I'm doing this session. It's called Viveka Chudamani. Next Friday, I believe, is that session. It's called Vivek Chudamani. Chudamani means the treasure. But we human beings, we don't use the treasure of the intellect. That's why majority of human beings, 99%, they live and they die and they come back to earth in a rebirth. What is the main reason? What is the main reason?
Don't use the intellect.
It is about not using the intellect. Every human being has the right of being enlightened. But it's a choice. Many people make the wrong choice. If you make the wrong choice, are you working by mind or intellect?
Mind.
Yeah, because you're making the wrong decision. Because you are carried away by emotions. You are carried away by what is called the heart. You are carried away by what is called mind. And you are making the wrong decisions.
Hello, can I talk to you after the satsang?
Yes, Pushpa, please call after the call.
Thank you.
So it's very important that we human beings, we use, that's why Adi Shankara, he says, intellect is the most valuable tool to attain enlightenment. My question to you, if you don't use intellect, can you attain enlightenment? Impossible.
No.
Impossible. Many people think by praying to God we can attain enlightenment. Can we?
No, not just prayer.
No, not possible. Bhakti mein hai Shakti. Shakti se hogi mukti, but you need to use your intellect. And the intellect has to be properly sharpened. My dear friends, it is very sad that there are many people in this world who don't use the intellect. And today's entire focus is that. Over to you. Let's have some question answers, please. Any question answers, not only on the intellect. I don't want it to be becoming too much of a talk. So let's have some question answers.
Sir, without the right knowledge in memory, will the intellect be of any use?
The intellect discriminates. Why do you, in what context are you saying without the right knowledge and memory? Can you give me an example?
I remember reading somewhere, intellect guided by right knowledge. So what we do, this Shravana, Manana and all, is gaining knowledge so that intellect is guided by such right knowledge.
Intellect is not guided by knowledge. Intellect utilizes the knowledge. For example, you have got two sets of knowledge, knowledge A and knowledge B. The intellect will discriminate and choose. Suppose, Girish, I give you an option. You want to live as God or you want to live as man? What would you choose?
as God.
But if you choose to live as man,
Then intellect
then
is not used.
then they say, जो बुद्धि से नहीं पर जो मन से काम करते लोग उन्हें बुद्धू कहते हैं. Correct, na, Girish? Suppose I tell you, in this shop Cadbury's is 100 rupees, in that shop Cadbury's is 50 rupees opposite, and you still buy for 100 rupees the same Cadbury's. What does it mean?
I am not discriminating.
Yeah, because you'll say, no, but because my father told me I must buy from this shop only. Are same Cadbury's, man. Same Cadbury's chocolate. 100 rupees one shop, 50 rupees another shop.
So for intellect to work, it should pick up right thing from a set of facts or knowledge.
That right thing is available to all of us. Every normal human being has got 5 senses, has got thought factory. There will be thoughts. We all read, we all are normal human beings. But the point is, we don't discriminate. We make the wrong choice. So, for example, I'll tell you, this is my grandfather used to always speak about this. All the girls who used to get married, my grandfather used to ask them, should you marry the man who loves you, or should you marry the man whom you love? My grandfather used to always ask the woman this question. Before getting married, he asked the girls, should you marry the man you love, or should you marry the man who loves you? Girish, what is the answer?
The man should love her so that she can marry.
Yeah, because the man who loves her will never leave her. My grandfather gave this advice to many people. You must never marry a man whom you love. That is the 100% not using intellect. If you use your intellect, you will always marry the man who loves you. He used to give this advice to hundreds of girls, whoever he met, because they used to come to him. He was like a sarpanch type of person. So these girls are crazy. The girls are chasing people. I love this boy. I love this boy. I love this boy. They want to marry the boy whom they love. The end result is disaster. So he used to ask them the question, tell me, what is better? To love the man, to marry the man you love, or who loves you? Then some girls who used to use the intellect, they used to say, what you say is correct. We will marry the boy who loves us, because if he loves us, he will never leave us. Now, is this complicated, Girish? Is this complicated matter?
No.
But it is about using the intellect. The girl who goes by the heart, the girl who goes by the mind, what does she do?
She will marry a person whom she thinks as attractive.
Correct. She's attracted by somebody, or she goes to somebody whom she loves.
Yes.
And that is not using the power of discrimination.
Yes.
Thank you, Girish. Vivek,
Yes,
you want to ask me
one connected question.
Yes, please. Yes, Girish.
You say, when I am in consciousness, the answer comes from universal knowledge bank.
Yes.
So when we are in consciousness, the intellect comes alive, as we have already discussed.
Yes.
Only the knowledge which already we have is used here from memory or from the universal spiritual knowledge bank. It gets downloaded. That is my question.
Let me explain to you. At level 1, we must use the intellect to discriminate. after discriminating and being enlightened with the truth. And when we surrender ourselves completely to the divine, then the intellect is no more needed, because when you are in that state of consciousness, only consciousness will flow through you. You're talking of this thing, I think. You're talking of this level. But this is only for the yogi. This is only for the realized soul. The realized soul lives in complete acceptance and surrender, and he does not bother about the intellect. Are you getting the point, Girish? But this is not for normal beings. This is just like saying, okay, the bird is flying in the sky. So I also will go in the aeroplane and jump outside. I also will fly in the sky. Can you?
Yeah, without the wings, we cannot physically
Yeah,
fly.
you got it right. You need the wings. And who gets the wings? Only the enlightened one gets the wings. The enlightened one can fly in the sky. Just as a metaphor, I'm just explaining to you. But the normal people have to be on the ground and discriminate first. You develop the wings. After you develop the wings, you can fly in the sky. So my dear friends, please don't lose the next 5-10 minutes we have got about using your intellect to discriminate. It is a critical point, my dear friends. We are choosing bhoga. We are not choosing yoga. We are not choosing the divine. We are choosing ordinary human attractions. This is because of the mind. Because the mind is controlling us, we are like puppets. And our wings are tied by strings. And we are unable to use our intellect. We all have been given a God-given intellect. And Adi Shankara wrote a book. And the book is called Viveka Chudamani. As I told you, we'll be talking more about it next week. Vivek, please tell me. Now we have Vivek talking about Vivek. Vivek means buddhi. Vivek means intellect. Now Vivek will be talking about Vivek. Bolo Vivek.
शिव हमें
Show him.
मैं ये पूछना चाहता था, जैसे हमें किसी से दिक्कत होती है, किसी चीज से या किसी जंतु से, जैसे मच्छर हो गए, कुछ चींटियां हो गई या कुछ भी जो हमारे लिए फिलहाल बुरा है, जो हमारे लिए गलत कर रहा है, हम उसे मार दें, तो क्या ये सही है या गलत है?
जब तक वो जीव हमें नहीं मार रहा है, हमें उसे नहीं मारना है.
हाँ जी.
बिकॉज उससे जीने का हक है.
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल.
अगर फॉर
कई बार ऐसा
एग्जाम्पल एक
होता है.
सांप आ रहा है, एक सांप आ रहा है, वो सांप आपको अटैक कर रहा है,
हाँ.
तब आप उसको मार सकते हैं.
हाँ जी.
बिकॉज वो
सेल्फ
आपको
डिफेंस में.
अटैक कर रहा है.
हाँ जी.
Unless there is a threat, unless you are threatened, your life is threatened, you should not take a life.
ओके. गुरुजी, कई बार ऐसा होता है हमारे पैर के नीचे कई कीड़े मकोड़े दबके मरते हैं जो हम नहीं चाहते. कई बार कई ऐसे हत्याएं हमसे हो जाती हैं जो हम नहीं चाहते, तो वो सही है
Karma,
या?
the law of karma is for intentional action.
अच्छा.
Suppose you know that when you are walking on the right side of the road, you are killing 100 ants. But when you are walking on the left side of the road, there are no ants. Which side of the road you should walk?
लेफ्ट साइड.
But if you knowingly walk on the right side and you kill 100 of ants, then what is it?
तब गलत है.
Then it
अनइंटेंशनली
becomes
कोई,
bad karma.
हाँ, अनइंटेंशनली कोई गलत नहीं है इसमें.
See, the problem क्या है विवेक? जब मन कंट्रोल लेता है, मन हमें इडियट बनाता है, मन हमें इडियट बनाता है, और मन के कारण हम कई गलत चीज करते हैं.
हाँ जी.
Because we lose consciousness, and in consciousness the intellect becomes disabled.
हाँ जी.
Intellect कब एक्टिव होता है? In consciousness. हमें consciousness चाहिए.
हाँ जी.
Thank you, Rohit.
नहीं गुरुजी, एक क्वेश्चन और था.
हाँ, बोलिए विवेक.
जैसे एक और है, ये हमारे यहाँ वेंटिलेटर है, उसमें ना कई सारे चमगादड़ आ रखे हैं. अब वो हमें नुकसान तो कुछ नहीं पहुंचा रहे, पर वो गंदगी बहुत फैला रहे हैं, जिससे हमारा मतलब कमरे में रहना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. तो अब वो ऐसे जाते भी नहीं. अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ उनको मार के ही निकालना पड़े, तो क्या मैं करूँ ना करूँ?
क्या आप ये वेंटिलेटर में क्या आते बोल रहे हैं? मच्छर क्या?
नहीं नहीं, चमगादड़, बैट।
बैट?
हाँ।
बैट आपने कभी देखा बैट ने एक इंसान को मारा है?
नहीं।
फिर मेरे आजू बाजू कितने बैट है? हंड्रेड्स ऑफ बैट्स है मेरे आजू बाजू, ठीक है?
हाँ जी।
आपने
नहीं
कभी सोचा है?
मारा
सुनो,
नहीं। हाँ।
अरे अगर वो उन्होंने गंदा, इफ दे आर गिविंग बैड स्मेल, आप एक फ्रेग्रेंस लगाओ यार। वो कौन सा
हाँ
शाहरुख
जी।
खान का ऐड आता है ना, कौन सा ऐड आता है? स्प्रे वाला ऐड।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
So let me tell you, Vivek, how the creator has made bat. It is flying all around us, but it does not hurt us. कैसे?
हाँ जी। वो
कभी वो चमगादड़ इंसान को आके टकराता है?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं।
उसका मतलब क्या है? हमें उन्हें तंग करना है या नहीं तंग करना है?
नहीं करना है।
विवेक एक बात याद रखो,
हाँ।
अगर हम किसी को तंग करेंगे हमें उसकी सजा मिलेगी।
हाँ जी।
हम किसी को तंग करेंगे, इफ वी ट्रबल वी हैव टू पे द प्राइस। इट इज द
हाँ
लॉ
जी।
ऑफ कर्म।
हाँ
वी
हाँ,
शुड नॉट ट्रबल एनीबडी।
हाँ जी।
If we keep on troubling and troubling and troubling, we are creating bad karma.
हाँ
We
जी।
we should use our intellect and not trouble anybody.
ओके,
Rohit?
थैंक यू।
Yeah, Shivam Guruji.
Sure, Rohit.
Yeah, so Guruji, this is understood that intellect, we have to use the intellect because there are so many things. The easy way we actually always we select, like laziness is the easy way, so we select laziness. But if somebody asks us to exercise, we will not. खेलने के लिए, children can, they play, but पढ़ाई study करने के लिए बोलेंगे, they will not. Going for a junk food, easily हम लोग करते हैं, but healthy food is something about using the intellect.
Okay.
And this also we understood that we have to be in consciousness if we have to use the intellect.
Correct.
So my question is how to be in consciousness, and there is one more question, that there is an instantaneous spontaneous reaction or at certain situations. For example, many times we think.
Both your questions are connected.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you. The intellect can only work in consciousness. Consciousness is a state of mindlessness, thoughtlessness. The moment you are a prisoner of thoughts, you will make what you just called spontaneous decisions. But if you are, the moment the thoughts are controlled, the mind is controlled, you are in a state of consciousness. You become the witness, you become the observer. In this state of consciousness, in this state of chit, the buddhi comes awake, the vivek comes awake, the intellect is awakened only in the state of consciousness.
So
and in that state of consciousness, you will not make spontaneous decisions. You will make well-established decisions. You will make decisions which are proper. I know 100 people who make foolish decisions. I know 100 people, and they are expert in making foolish decisions.
So,
Experts.
Guruji, but how to be in that consciousness?
By stopping the monkey mind, by cutting its tail, which is ever yelling, ever yearning.
And how to stop that one?
By practice of silence, by practice of contemplation, by practice of engaging the mind on meaningful things. It is not something that will come in one day. But if you really want to attain that state of consciousness, then you have to be able to tame the monkey mind. Rohit, this is the biggest challenge, and this is the way to enlightenment.
Yeah. So the Nam Japa, which is usually been told by all the saints. So is that Nam Japa also we tame the mind in something positive?
Nam Japa only if that Nam Japa is done in earnestness. If your Nam Japa japa is you are repeating na Ram, 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 but your mind is wandering to calm, 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 then how it will happen? It is only when the Naam Jap is done in earnestness. Only then you are getting into consciousness. Hope you understood what I'm saying.
Yeah, understood. I mean, what you're saying is, if we are stuck in different thoughts and we are just doing the Nam Japa by mouth, then that is not going to be helpful.
Yeah. To conclude, Rohit and the group, to conclude, let me conclude with these words. As long as the mind is in command and we are bombarded by thoughts, there can be no consciousness, there can be no intellect. The mind attacking us is just like a ferocious tsunami. It is just like a wild river. It is just like an ocean that is aggressive. When the mind comes and attacks us like that, then there is no ability of intellectuality, there's no intellect, there's no consciousness, and we are slaves. We become slaves of the mind. So my conclusion to you today, we all have an intellect. We have to be able to use the intellect. The intellect is like a sword. We have to cut through thought. We have to cut through the mind. And we have to be in that state of consciousness to make the right choice to take us to enlightenment. If we want to be in yoga, we need intellect. Otherwise, we will fall into bhoga and we will suffer again and again. With that note, I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 8. Thank you.